Hey everyone, welcome back. Just before we start, it's a fun idea if you type in where you're listening from. Thanks, like and subscribe, and let's get this started. It started as a normal evening, just another casual gathering with friends at our place. The house was buzzing with laughter, the clinking of glasses and the soft hum of music in the background. My wife, Claire, looked stunning as usual, her red dress hugging her curves in all the right places. I couldn't take my eyes off her. She was everything to me. Beautiful, intelligent, and mine. We'd been married for 7 years, and I'd always prided myself on our relationship. People envied us. They saw the way we looked at each other, the way we touched. They thought we had it all. The night started innocently enough. A few drinks, some light conversation, and then someone suggested a game. Never have I ever. We'd played it 100 times before, always with the same silly, harmless confessions. Never have I ever gone skinny dipping. Never have I ever stolen something. We all laughed, shared stories, and took our drinks. But tonight was different. The air felt thicker, the atmosphere charged with something I couldn't quite place. As the game progressed, the questions became more personal, more daring. I watched Claire closely. She was laughing, her eyes bright with mischief, but there was something else there too. Something I hadn't seen before. A flicker of guilt? Or was it just the alcohol? Then it happened. One of our friends, clearly tipsy, blurted out, "Never have I ever cheated on my spouse." The room fell silent, everyone's eyes darting around, unsure of who would take a drink. My heart pounded in my chest. I was sure Claire wouldn't move. We'd been through rough patches, but infidelity? No, not us. And then she did it. Slowly, almost defiantly, she raised her glass and took a long, deliberate sip. My world tilted on its axis. The laughter around us faded into a dull roar, my vision narrowing until all I could see was her, my wife, my Claire, betraying me with a single, unspoken confession. "What the hell, Claire?" I managed to choke out, my voice barely audible over the blood rushing in my ears. The room went deadly quiet. All eyes were on us now, but I didn't care. All I could see was her, the woman I thought I knew, calmly setting her glass down as if she hadn't just shattered my world. She looked at me, her eyes unreadable. "It was a long time ago," she said, her voice steady but cold. "Before we got serious. It doesn't matter now." But it did matter. It mattered more than anything. I could feel the anger bubbling up inside me, but I was too stunned to react. Everyone was still watching, waiting for my response. My mind was racing, trying to process what had just happened. I thought I knew her. I thought we were solid. But now everything felt like a lie. And just like that, our perfect life came crashing down around me. The shock hits me like a freight train. Claire, my Claire, admitting to cheating multiple times. I can't breathe, can't think. My entire world crumbles in an instant. I stare at her, trying to find a sign, any sign that this is some kind of sick joke. But her eyes are clear, her expression defiant. She's not joking. She's serious, and she's not sorry. The room spins, and I grip the edge of the table to steady myself. "How could you?" My voice trembles, barely above a whisper. It's all I can manage. The betrayal cuts so deep that I can't even summon the anger. Not yet. All I feel is numb, like my body has shut down to protect me from the full impact of what she's just said. Claire looks at me with a mix of pity and annoyance. "It wasn't like that, Jack. It wasn't about you. It was, it was something I needed, something I couldn't get from you." The words hang in the air like a death sentence. Something I couldn't get from you. The numbness starts to recede and anger begins to seep in, hot and consuming. I trusted her. I loved her. And this is how she repays me? "You cheated on me, more than once." My voice is louder now, the tremor gone, replaced by cold fury. "How many times, Claire? How many times did you lie to my face?" She sighs, like this conversation is nothing more than an inconvenience to her. "Does it matter? It's over now. It doesn't change anything between us." "Doesn't change anything?" I can't believe what I'm hearing. "It changes everything. You lied to me, betrayed me. How the hell do you think this doesn't change anything? She rolls her eyes in an infuriating gesture that sends my anger skyrocketing. Jack, we've been drifting apart for years. You know that. This, this was just a symptom of what's been wrong with us for a long time. I can't take it anymore. The room feels too small, too stifling. I need to get out, need to clear my head, but I can't leave it like this. I won't let her get away with it, not without consequences. Pack your things and get out, I say, my voice low but firm. We're done. Claire's eyes widen in surprise. Clearly she wasn't expecting this, but then she narrows them, her lips curling into a smirk that sends a chill down my spine. Oh, Jack, she says softly, almost mockingly. You really think it's that simple? You think you can just kick me out and that's the end of it? You have no idea what you're dealing with. The threat in her voice is unmistakable, and for the first time tonight, fear claws at my chest. There's something darker here, something I didn't see coming. She's not just a cheating wife. She's something else entirely, something dangerous. What are you talking about? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. What are you going to do? She leans back in her chair, crossing her arms over her chest. If you try to kick me out, if you try to end this marriage, I'll make sure everyone knows your dirty little secret. I freeze. My mind races, trying to figure out what she means. What secret? I don't have any secrets. I've been nothing but honest with her, with everyone. But the look in her eyes tells me she knows something, something that could destroy me. I don't know what you're talking about, I say, though my voice lacks the conviction I want it to have. Don't play dumb with me, Jack. Her voice is icy now, all traces of the woman I love gone. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't want the whole world to know, you'll think very carefully about your next move. My blood runs cold. She's bluffing. She has to be. But the doubt is there, gnawing at the edges of my mind. What if she's not? What if there's something I've forgotten, something she could use against me? I'm not going anywhere, she continues, her voice dripping with confidence. This is my home too, and if you try to push me out, I'll make sure you regret it. I'm trapped. I can feel it, the walls closing in around me. I can't let her stay, not after what she's done, but I can't risk whatever it is she's holding over me either. My mind is spinning, searching for a way out. But there's no easy solution. She's got me cornered. What do you want, Claire? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. What do you want from me? She leans forward, her eyes gleaming with something that looks almost like triumph. I want you to accept that we're not ending this marriage. We're going to stay together, and you're going to keep your mouth shut about what I've done. In return, I won't say a word about your little secret. The anger flares again, but it's tempered by fear, by the realization that she's in control now. She has the upper hand, and she knows it. I can feel the power shift between us, feel it settling heavily on my shoulders. I'm no longer the master of my own fate. She is. Fine, I say, the word bitter on my tongue. But don't think for a second that I'm going to forget this. I'll find a way out of this, Claire. You won't win. She smiles, a cold, calculating smile that sends shivers down my spine. We'll see about that, Jack. We'll see. The night ends with a tense, suffocating silence. I retreat to the guest room, unable to bear the thought of sharing a bed with her. My mind is racing, replaying the events of the evening over and over, searching for some kind of solution, some way to regain control. But nothing comes. I'm trapped in a nightmare of my own making, and I have no idea how to escape. As I lie there in the darkness, I realize that this is just the beginning. Claire has thrown down the gauntlet, and now it's up to me to figure out how to pick it up. But one thing is clear. This is no longer just a marriage. It's a battle, and only one of us will come out on top. The next morning, I wake with a plan forming in my mind. I can't let Claire win. I won't. She thinks she's got me cornered, but she underestimates me. She always has. I've built a career on being smarter, faster, more ruthless than anyone else. And now I'm going to use those same skills to take her down. I spend the day making calls, setting things in motion. I contact a private investigator, someone discreet, someone I can trust to dig up the dirt I need on Claire. If she's hiding something, I'll find it. And when I do, I'll use it to turn the tables on her. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. But as the day wears on, the weight of what I'm doing starts to settle in. This isn't just about saving myself anymore. It's about destroying the woman I once loved, the woman I thought I knew. There's a part of me that recoils at the thought, that wants to stop before it's too late. But that part is small, weak, easily silenced by the anger and fear that drive me now. By the time night falls, I've steeled myself for what's to come. Claire may think she's won, but she has no idea what she's up against. I'm going to expose her, ruin her, make her regret ever thinking she could cross me. And when it's all over, when I've taken everything from her, I'll finally be free. Or so I tell myself. As I drift off to sleep, my mind buzzing with plans and schemes, one thought lingers, gnawing at the edges of my consciousness. What if she's right? What if, in the end, I'm the one who loses everything? But I push it aside, bury it deep where it can't reach me. I don't have time for doubts, not now. Not when the battle has only just begun. I spend the next few days in a fog of disbelief and anger, but I know I can't let that paralyze me. Claire's threat lingers in my mind, gnawing at me every waking moment. She's hiding something big. And if I'm going to get out of this, I need to find out what it is. I can't afford to make any wrong moves. She's dangerous, more than I ever imagined. My first step is to dig into her life, her secrets. I hire a private investigator, a guy named Marcus. He's been in the business for years, knows how to stay under the radar. I don't tell him everything, just enough to get him started. He doesn't ask many questions, which is exactly what I need. Within days, he's sending me updates, pieces of a puzzle that start to form a terrifying picture. The more I learn, the more I realize how little I knew about Claire. She's been careful, covering her tracks, but not careful enough. Marcus uncovers a series of strange transactions in her accounts. Large sums of money moving in and out with no clear explanation. There are late-night meetings, trips out of town that she never mentioned, and connections to people who send a chill down my spine. It's not just the affairs. She's involved in something far darker. Marcus finds out she's been blackmailing people, powerful people. She's gathered dirt on them, the kind of dirt that could destroy careers, lives, and she's been using it to her advantage, siphoning money, favors, anything she can get her hands on. I feel sick to my stomach. This is the woman I married, the woman I thought I knew. But it's clear now that I only saw what she wanted me to see. Claire is playing a dangerous game, and she's in way over her head. And by staying with her, by trying to salvage our marriage, I've been pulled into it too. As the days pass, the tension in the house becomes unbearable. We barely speak to each other, the air thick with unspoken threats and simmering rage. I know she suspects something. She's too smart not to. But I'm careful, playing my part, pretending like I'm still reeling from the shock of her confession. One night, I confront her. It's late, and the house is quiet. We're in the living room, the only light coming from the flickering flames in the fireplace. I've been drinking, trying to dull the constant knot of anxiety in my gut. But it doesn't help. Nothing does. What are you really involved in, Claire? I ask, my voice low, dangerous. Don't lie to me. She looks at me, her expression unreadable, and for a moment I think she's going to deny everything. Play innocent, like she always does. But then her eyes narrow, and she gives me a look that makes my blood run cold. You don't want to know, Jack, she says softly, almost pityingly. Trust me, it's better if you stay out of it. But I can't stay out of it. I'm in too deep already. I'm not giving you a choice, I snap, my anger flaring. You've put us both in danger, and I need to know what we're dealing with. She sighs, a sound filled with resignation. Fine, she says, her voice suddenly cold and clinical. I've been making some deals, pulling strings. There are people who owe me, people who fear me. But it's all under control. Under control? I nearly laugh at the absurdity of it. Do you even hear yourself? You're blackmailing people, Claire. That's not something you control. That's something that controls you. She shrugs, indifferent. It's worked so far, and it'll keep working as long as you don't screw it up. I stare at her, hardly believing what I'm hearing. This woman who once seemed so perfect, so loving, has become a stranger. A dangerous, unpredictable stranger. I realize then that I can't save her. I can't save us. The only thing I can do now is protect myself, whatever that takes. But Claire isn't done. She leans forward, her eyes locked on mine, and I can see the calculation there, the cold, ruthless mind working behind those beautiful eyes. You need to make a decision, Jack, she says softly. Either you're with me or you're against me. And trust me, you don't want to be against me. Her words send a chill down my spine. She's serious, deadly serious. And I know then that she's willing to do whatever it takes to keep her secret safe, even if it means destroying me in the process. I feel trapped, suffocated by the web of lies and deceit that has become my life. But I can't let her win. I won't. I have to find a way out of this, a way to turn the tables on her before it's too late. The next morning I meet with Marcus again. He's found more, evidence that Claire is involved with some very dangerous people, the kind who won't hesitate to eliminate a threat if they think it's necessary. And if they find out I'm digging into their business, that threat could be me. But I can't stop now. I need more, something that will give me leverage, something I can use to force Claire's hand. Marcus mentions a man, someone Claire has been in contact with frequently over the past few months. He's connected, powerful, and very dangerous. If I can find out what their connection is, I might have what I need. But it's a risky move. Marcus warns me that going after this man could blow everything up, put both of us in even more danger. But I don't see another option. Claire has backed me into a corner, and the only way out is through. I spend the next few days following the leads Marcus gives me, piecing together the story. It's worse than I thought. Claire isn't just blackmailing this man. She's helping him with something illegal, something that could land her in prison for the rest of her life if it ever got out. And she's using me as cover, playing the role of the perfect wife while she does her dirty work behind the scenes. When I confront her with what I've found, she doesn't even flinch. She just looks at me, her eyes cold and calculating. So what now, she asks, as if daring me to make the next move. I don't have an answer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. All I know is that I need to end this one way or another. But as I stand there staring at the woman I once loved, I realize that there might not be a way out of this that doesn't end in disaster. Claire is too deep in this, too far gone. And I'm starting to think that maybe I am too. The next night, I get a call from Marcus. He's found something big. But before he can tell me what it is, the line goes dead. My heart races as I try to call him back, but there's no answer. Panic grips me. I know something's happened, something bad, and I know Claire is behind it. I rush to Marcus's office, but when I get there, it's already too late. The place is ransacked, papers scattered everywhere, and Marcus is nowhere to be found. I search through the mess, hoping to find something, anything that can help me, and then I see it, a flash drive hidden under a pile of papers. I grab it and leave, my hands shaking. Back at home, I plug the drive into my laptop and watch as the files open. It's everything Marcus found, everything Claire was trying to hide. But as I read through the documents, my heart sinks. This isn't just about Claire, it's about me too. She's been planning this from the start, setting me up as the fall guy for her crimes. I'm in too deep now. There's no way out. Claire has me right where she wants me, and I realize with a sickening dread that there's only one way this is going to end. The tension between Claire and me is at an all-time high. We move around the house like two predators, circling each other, waiting for the other to make a mistake. I know it's only a matter of time before everything comes to a head, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm on the verge of losing everything. But I'm not going down without a fight. Claire's been careful, but I've been watching her closely, noticing the cracks in her facade. She's slipping up, becoming more paranoid, more reckless. It's only a matter of time before she makes a mistake I can use against her. But I also know that time is running out for me. The files I found in Marcus's office reveal too much, things that could destroy us both if they ever see the light of day. I spend my days planning, strategizing, trying to stay one step ahead of Claire. I know I need to confront her, to force her hand, but the thought terrifies me. I've seen what she's capable of, and I know that once I start this, there's no turning back. But I have no choice. She's backed me into a corner, and the only way out is through. One evening, after hours of brooding, I decide it's time. I can't keep living like this, under the constant threat of her next move. I need to confront her, to lay everything on the table and see where the chips fall. I pour myself a drink to steady my nerves, then head into the living room where Claire is sitting, scrolling through her phone like nothing's wrong. "We need to talk," I say, my voice sharper than I intended. Claire looks up at me, her eyes narrowing slightly. She knows what's coming. "About what?" she asks, her tone casual, but I can see the tension in the way she grips her phone. "About us. About everything," I say, stepping closer. "I know what you've been doing, Claire. I know about the blackmail, the money, all of it." She doesn't flinch. If anything, she looks bored. "So what?" she says, shrugging. "What are you going to do about it?" The coldness in her voice hits me like a slap. "I'm not going to let you destroy me," I say, struggling to keep my voice steady. "I've got evidence, Claire. Enough to bring you down. You're not going to get away with this." For a moment, she just stares at me, and then to my surprise, she laughs. It's a harsh, mocking sound that echoes off the walls. "You really think you've won, don't you?" she says, standing up to face me. "You have no idea what you're up against." Before I can respond, she reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small flash drive. "You see this?" she says, holding it up between her fingers. "This is everything, Jack. Everything you've done, everything you've tried to hide. And if you even think about going against me, this goes public. You'll lose everything." My heart skips a beat. I had no idea she had anything on me, at least nothing like this. But now, seeing the look in her eyes, I know she's serious. She's always been one step ahead, and she's been planning this all along. "I don't care," I say, though the words sound hollow even to me. "I'm done with your games. I'm done letting you control me." "Control you?" she says, her voice dripping with disdain. "You've been controlling me for years, Jack. You thought you could keep me under your thumb, but I'm not some little housewife you can push around. I'm smarter than you, stronger than you, and now I'm going to prove it." The rage in her voice is palpable, and for a moment, I'm taken aback by the depth of her hatred. But I can't let her see my fear. I have to stand my ground. "What do you want, Claire?" I ask, trying to sound calm. "What's your end game here?" She smiles, a cold, calculated smile that sends chills down my spine. "I want you to suffer, Jack," she says simply. "I want you to know what it's like to lose everything, to have everything you've worked for torn away from you, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it." I can feel my pulse quicken, the blood pounding in my ears. This is it, the moment of truth. I have to make a move, and I have to do it now. "You won't get the chance," I say, my voice trembling with barely contained fury. "I'm going to the police. I'm going to expose you for what you are, a liar, a criminal. And when I'm done, you'll be the one left with nothing." Claire's expression doesn't change, but I can see the flicker of doubt in her eyes. For the first time, I think she's starting to realize that I'm serious. "Go ahead," she says, her voice low. "But remember, Jack, once you pull that trigger, there's no going back. You'll destroy me, but you'll destroy yourself too." It's a risk I have to take. I can't keep living under her thumb, constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the next blow to fall. But as I turn to leave, she speaks again, and her words stop me in my tracks. "You think you're the only one with secrets?" she says softly. "You think you can just walk away from this, from me, without paying the price? You're wrong, Jack. Dead wrong." I turn back to face her, my heart racing. "What do you mean?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Claire's smile widens and she steps closer, her eyes locked on mine. "I've been planning this for a long time," she says, her voice almost a purr. "And you're going to find out just how deep this goes. You're going to lose everything, Jack. Your career, your reputation, even your freedom. And when it's all over, when you're sitting in a jail cell, wondering where it all went wrong, you'll know that it was me who put you there. The air between us is electric, charged with tension and barely contained rage. I know I have to do something, have to act before it's too late. But for the first time, I feel truly powerless. Claire has me cornered, and she knows it. I take a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. "This isn't over," I say, though the words feel weak, meaningless. "No," she agrees, her eyes gleaming with something dark and dangerous. "It's just beginning." The next few days are a blur of panic and desperation. I contact the police, but they seem reluctant to get involved, especially when they realize who Claire is connected to. It's clear that she's covered her tracks well, and without solid evidence, there's little they can do. I go back to Marcus's files, searching for something, anything that I can use to take her down. But every lead seems to hit a dead end, and the walls are closing in. Claire continues to go about her life as if nothing has happened, confident, unshakable, while I spiral further into fear and paranoia. I feel like I'm losing my mind, like I'm being hunted. Every time I think I'm getting close to something, she's there, one step ahead, ready to destroy whatever progress I've made. I've never felt so helpless, so trapped. And then, one night it happens. Claire drops the bombshell that shatters whatever resolve I have left. We're sitting in the kitchen, the tension so thick it's suffocating. She looks up from her wine glass, a smirk playing on her lips. "Oh, by the way, Jack," she says casually, "I filed for divorce, and I've made sure that when it's all said and done, you'll be left with nothing. I'll see to that personally." The words hit me like a physical blow. Divorce. I hadn't even considered it, hadn't thought that she would actually go that far. But I should have known. Claire is ruthless, and she's determined to win, no matter the cost. I stand there stunned, unable to speak. She gets up, brushes past me with a smile, and leaves the room, leaving me alone with the crushing weight of what she's just done. It's over. Everything I've fought for, everything I've tried to protect, is slipping through my fingers. Claire has won, and there's nothing I can do to stop her. As I sit there, staring blankly at the papers she's left on the table, I realize that I've lost more than just my marriage. I've lost myself, my dignity, my hope. And now all that's left is to wait for the final blow, the one that will end this nightmare once and for all. The moment Claire leaves the room, I know I can't keep fighting her alone. She's too smart, too ruthless. I need an ally, someone who knows her just as well as I do, maybe even better. And then it hits me, one of her former lovers. If anyone has a reason to want revenge, it's him. But reaching out to him feels like playing with fire. Still, I'm desperate. I can't let her destroy me. I dig through Claire's old emails, searching for any clue about this man. It doesn't take long to find him. His name is David, a name she mentioned once or twice during those late-night arguments when she wanted to hurt me. I'd always assumed he was just another fling, someone she used and discarded. But now I see him as a possible way out. I track him down, finding his number through a mutual acquaintance. My hands tremble as I dial, but I force myself to stay calm. When he answers, his voice is cold, suspicious. "Who's this?" "It's Jack, Claire's husband." There's a pause, and I can almost hear the gears turning in his head. "Why are you calling me?" "I need your help," I say bluntly. "Claire's trying to ruin me, and I know she's hurt you too. We can work together. Bring her down." He laughs, but there's no humor in it. "You're a fool if you think I want anything to do with you. Claire's dangerous. You have no idea what she's capable of." "I do," I insist, my voice rising with desperation. "That's why I'm calling. She's got something on both of us. But if we join forces, we can take her down." There's another long pause, and I can feel my heart pounding in my chest. Finally, he speaks. Meet me tomorrow. We'll talk. The next day, I drive to a secluded bar on the outskirts of town. It's the kind of place where no one asks questions, where people go to disappear. I find David in a dark corner, nursing a drink. He looks up as I approach, his eyes hard and calculating. I wasn't sure you'd come, I say, sliding into the seat across from him. Curiosity got the better of me, he replies, his voice flat. So what's your plan? I lay it out for him, telling him everything I know about Claire's blackmail schemes, the evidence I found, and how she's setting me up to take the fall. He listens without interrupting, his expression unreadable. When I finish, he leans back, considering. Claire's always been 2 steps ahead, he says finally. She's a master manipulator. If we go after her, we need to be prepared for a fight, and I'm not just talking about legal battles. I know, I say, meeting his gaze, but we don't have a choice. She's going to destroy us both if we don't stop her. David nods slowly. All right, I'm in, but we need to be smart about this. One wrong move, and we're both done. We spend the next few days planning our next steps. David has connections, people who owe him favors, and we use them to gather more information on Claire. We discover that she's been funneling money into offshore accounts, hiding her tracks as she prepares to make her next move. It's clear she's planning something big, something that will leave me with nothing. The tension between us builds as we get closer to the truth. We're both walking a fine line, knowing that if Claire catches wind of what we're doing, she'll retaliate with everything she has. But there's no turning back now. We've come too far. One night, I'm alone in the house, going through some of the files we've collected, when I hear a noise outside. My heart leaps into my throat. I grab a flashlight and head toward the sound, every nerve in my body on high alert. I step outside, scanning the darkness, but there's nothing there, just the wind rustling through the trees. I turn to go back inside, and that's when I see her. Claire standing in the doorway, her face half hidden in shadow. My breath catches in my throat. Wait, what are you doing here? She smiles, but there's nothing warm about it. I could ask you the same thing, Jack. What's going on? You've been acting strange lately. My mind races, trying to come up with a plausible lie. But before I can speak, she steps closer, her eyes locking onto mine. You've been digging, haven't you? Trying to find something you can use against me. I try to deny it, but the words stick in my throat. Claire steps even closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You think you can outsmart me? I know you, Jack. I know how you think. And I know you're not strong enough to beat me. Fear grips me, but I force myself to stand my ground. I'm not afraid of you, Claire. You should be, she says, her voice chilling. Because when I'm done with you, there won't be anything left. She turns and walks back inside, leaving me standing there shaken. I know she's right. Claire is more dangerous than I ever imagined, and I'm in way over my head. The next morning, I meet David again. He can see the fear in my eyes, and it only fuels his own determination. We need to move fast, he says. She's on to us. We put our plan into action. David uses his connections to leak information about Claire's dealings to the authorities, making sure it's enough to get their attention, but not enough to trace back to us. Meanwhile, I focus on gathering the final pieces of evidence we need to bring her down once and for all. But things don't go as planned. The authorities start digging, but Claire is one step ahead as always. She's already covered her tracks, and now she's turning the tables on us. I get a call from my lawyer, warning me that Claire has filed a restraining order against me, claiming that I've been stalking her, threatening her. It's a lie, but it doesn't matter. Claire has already planted enough doubt in the right people's minds. The police show up at my door, and I'm forced to watch as they search my home, confiscating my computer, my files, everything. I try to explain, but it's no use. Claire's story is too convincing, and now I'm the one under investigation. David and I meet again, but this time the mood is different. We're both on edge, knowing that we're running out of time. We need to escalate, David says, his voice tense. If we don't take her down now, she'll bury us. I know he's right, but the thought terrifies me. We're on the brink of something dangerous, something that could ruin us both. But there's no other option. Claire has pushed us to the edge, and now we have to push back. We make one final, desperate move. David arranges a meeting with one of Claire's old associates, someone who's been burned by her before and is willing to talk. We meet in a dimly lit warehouse, the air thick with tension. The man lays it all out. Claire's deals, her betrayals, everything we need to take her down. But before we can act, everything falls apart. The warehouse door bursts open, and suddenly we're surrounded by men with guns. It's a setup. Claire knew all along. She's always known. I try to run, but it's too late. They grab me, drag me to the ground. I can hear David shouting, but I can't make out the words. All I can think is that this is it. This is how it ends. As they haul me to my feet, I see Claire standing in the doorway, watching with a cold smile on her face. She's won. She's always been one step ahead, and now she's taken everything from me. But even as they drag me away, I know I can't give up. There has to be a way out, a way to turn the tables one last time. I just have to survive long enough to find it. I'm thrown into the back of a van, hands bound, head spinning. The shock of the ambush hasn't worn off yet. My mind races, trying to piece together how everything fell apart so quickly. David and I were so careful, or at least we thought we were. But Claire, she was always a step ahead, always planning, always calculating. Now I'm in her trap, and the only thing left to do is fight my way out. The van lurches to a stop. I'm dragged out, shoved into a dimly lit warehouse. My eyes take a moment to adjust, and then I see her, Claire, standing tall, her expression cold and victorious. Behind her, a group of men I don't recognize, but their presence alone makes it clear they're dangerous. David is there too, tied to a chair, bloodied but alive. He looks up at me, his eyes filled with regret and fear. "You just couldn't let it go, could you, Jack?" Claire's voice cuts through the silence, sharp and full of venom. "I warned you. I gave you every chance to back off, but you kept pushing." I struggle to stay calm, to keep my voice steady. "You've taken everything from me, Claire. You left me no choice." She steps closer, her eyes narrowing. "No choice? You had every choice, Jack. You could have walked away. But instead, you decided to play hero, to dig into things you didn't understand. And now look where it's gotten you." I glance at David, who shakes his head slightly, a silent plea for me to keep quiet. But I can't. Not now. "You're going to pay for what you've done, Claire. This isn't over." She laughs, a cold, mirthless sound. "Oh, it's over, Jack." "You just don't know it yet." Claire signals to one of the men, who steps forward and punches me hard in the stomach. The pain explodes through me, doubling me over, but I refuse to cry out. I won't give her the satisfaction. When I straighten up, Claire is watching me, her expression unreadable. "You always underestimated me," she says softly. "That was your biggest mistake. You thought you could control me, that I was just some pretty little thing you could mold into the perfect wife. But I've always been more than that, Jack. And now you're going to see just how wrong you were." She nods again, and the man punches me again, harder this time. I gasp for breath, the room spinning around me. I know I can't take much more of this. I need to find a way out, some way to turn the tables before it's too late. David shifts in his chair, catching Claire's attention. "Let him go, Claire. This isn't you." Her eyes flash with anger. "You don't know anything about me, David. You were just a pawn, a means to an end. And now you're nothing." She turns back to me, her expression hardening. "I could kill you right now, Jack. End this once and for all. But that would be too easy. I want you to suffer. I want you to watch everything you've built crumble to dust, knowing there's nothing you can do to stop it." I force myself to meet her gaze, to hold on to the last shred of defiance I have left. "You won't get away with this." She smiles, a slow, predatory smile. "I already have." The men move in closer, their intentions clear. I brace myself for the worst, but then, in a moment of sheer desperation, I lash out. I twist, breaking free from the grip of one of the men and grabbing the gun from his holster. The room erupts into chaos. David takes advantage of the distraction, kicking over the chair he's tied to and slamming into one of the other men. I fire a shot, wild and unsteady, but it's enough to make them hesitate. Claire screams something, but I can't hear her over the roar of blood in my ears. I keep firing, driving them back, creating a path to the door. David and I scramble to our feet, bolting for the exit. We crash through the door, into the night air, running as fast as our battered bodies will allow. I can hear footsteps behind us, shouts, gunfire, but I don't stop. I can't stop. We reach the car we came in, and David fumbles with the keys, his hands shaking. Finally, the engine roars to life, and we tear out of there, the tires screeching on the pavement. We don't speak, just drive, putting as much distance between us and that warehouse as possible. It's only when we're miles away, on an empty stretch of highway, that we finally stop. The adrenaline is wearing off, leaving me feeling hollow and exhausted. David slumps in the driver's seat, staring blankly ahead. "What now?" he asks, his voice raw. I don't have an answer. We've escaped, but the battle is far from over. Claire is still out there, and she won't stop until she's destroyed us. But for now, we're alive, and that has to count for something. We regroup, I say, though I'm not sure what that means. We find another way. David nods, though there's no real conviction in his eyes. We both know we're in deeper than ever, and the chances of getting out of this alive are slim. But we can't give up. Not now. We drive through the night, the silence between us heavy with unspoken fears. I replay the events of the past few weeks over and over in my mind, trying to figure out where we went wrong, how Claire managed to outmaneuver us at every turn. I should have known better. I should have seen it coming. By the time dawn breaks, we're both on edge, exhausted and frayed. We pull into a small, rundown motel, the kind of place where no one asks questions. Inside, the room is musty and cramped, but it's safe. For now. David collapses onto the bed, his face pale and drawn. "She's not going to stop, is she?" "No," I say, sinking into the chair by the window. But neither are we. We spend the day hiding out, trying to figure out our next move. Every plan we come up with feels like a long shot, a desperate gamble with no guarantees. But we're out of options. We have to take the fight back to Claire, to find a way to expose her for what she is before she gets to us first. By nightfall, we have a plan, one last desperate attempt to turn the tables. It's risky, but it's all we've got. We gather our remaining strength, and I steel myself for what's to come. There's no room for fear now, no room for doubt. As we prepare to leave the motel, I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I barely recognize the man staring back at me, hollow-eyed, bruised, desperate. Claire has taken everything from me, stripped me down to nothing, but she hasn't broken me, not yet. The final confrontation is coming. I can feel it in my bones. And I know that when it happens, only one of us will walk away. David and I drive in silence, the weight of what we're about to do pressing down on us. We're heading back into the lion's den, back to where it all began. But this time we're ready, or at least as ready as we'll ever be. As we pull up to the location we've chosen for the final showdown, the tension between us is palpable. We don't speak, but we both know what's at stake. This is it, the moment that will decide everything. We step out of the car and I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm raging inside me. Claire is already there, waiting, her expression unreadable, but I can see the determination in her eyes, the cold, calculated resolve. She thinks she's won. She thinks she's about to finish what she started. But she's wrong. This time I'm ready for her. This time I won't be caught off guard. The final confrontation begins. I stand amidst the wreckage of my life, the aftermath of the confrontation with Claire still fresh in my mind. The air is heavy with the scent of gunpowder and fear, the echoes of violence reverberating in my skull. I'm alive, but at what cost? Claire is gone, taken down in the chaos of our final showdown, but her shadow lingers, a reminder of the darkness she drew me into. The police arrived soon after, alerted by the commotion. David and I are taken into custody, our bloodied, exhausted forms painting a grim picture of the night's events. The questions come in rapid succession, but my mind is too numb to process them. I answer on autopilot, recounting the horror that has become my life. David sits beside me, equally drained, his eyes hollow. We did what we had to do, but there's no victory here, only survival. The trial is swift, the evidence overwhelming. Claire's crimes are laid bare for all to see, her web of deceit unraveling under the harsh light of truth. The details of her blackmail schemes, the illegal deals, the bodies left in her wake. It's all there, indisputable. But as I sit in that courtroom, listening to the damning testimony, I can't help but feel the weight of my own sins pressing down on me. I'm not innocent. I became a part of this, allowed myself to be pulled into the darkness, and now I'm paying the price. The prosecution paints a picture of a man driven to desperation, forced to act to protect himself. But I know the truth. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was seeking revenge, driven by a need to destroy the woman who had destroyed me. The judge's verdict is handed down with a sense of finality. I'm spared prison time, my role seen as a reaction to Claire's relentless manipulation, but the scars remain. I'm free, but I've lost everything. My career, my reputation, my peace of mind. I walk out of that courthouse a free man, but I'm far from whole. In the weeks that follow, I try to piece my life back together, but it's like trying to rebuild a shattered vase. The pieces don't fit the way they used to, and some are missing altogether. I move through the days in a daze, haunted by the memories of what I've done, what I've become. The house is empty now, a hollow shell of what it once was, much like me. I spend my nights in the guest room, unable to bring myself to sleep in the bed I once shared with Claire. It's tainted, a reminder of the lies, the betrayal, the violence. I drift off to sleep each night with the same thought echoing in my mind. How did it come to this? How did I let everything slip away? One night, as I lie there staring at the ceiling, the enormity of it all crashes down on me. I realize that in my quest to take Claire down, I lost a part of myself, my sense of morality, my humanity. I became someone I don't recognize, driven by anger and fear, willing to do whatever it took to win. But there was no winner in this game, only casualties. I try to find solace in routine, throwing myself into work, into rebuilding my life from the ground up. But it's hard. Everywhere I go, I see reminders of Claire, her perfume lingering on my clothes, her smile in the photographs I can't bring myself to take down. I start avoiding the house, spending more time at the office, drowning myself in tasks to keep the memories at bay. But the memories are always there, lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce. And when they do, they're merciless. I see her face in my dreams, hear her voice whispering in my ear, taunting me with the knowledge that she got the last laugh. Even in death, Claire has a hold on me, and I don't know if I'll ever be free. Yet amid the despair, there's a flicker of resolve. I know I can't go on like this, trapped in the past, haunted by ghosts. I have to move forward, even if it means carrying the weight of my mistakes with me. I have to find a way to live again, to rebuild not just my life, but myself. I start seeing a therapist, someone to help me make sense of the chaos, to help me find a way out of the darkness. It's a slow process, painful and raw, but necessary. I'm forced to confront the ugly truths about myself, to face the part I played in my own downfall. It's not easy, but I keep going, driven by the hope that maybe, just maybe, I can find a way to heal. Months pass, and I start to see glimmers of light in the darkness. I reconnect with old friends, people who knew me before all of this, who remind me of who I used to be. I find small moments of joy in the mundane, in a good cup of coffee, in the warmth of the sun on my face. They're small victories, but they're victories nonetheless. I'm not the man I was before Claire. I never will be. But maybe that's okay. Maybe I can learn to live with the scars, to carry them as a reminder of where I've been and what I've survived. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I'm not done fighting. I'm not done living. As I stand in the doorway of my home, looking out at the world beyond, I feel a sense of cautious hope. The wounds are still there, but they're healing, slowly, painfully, but healing nonetheless. I take a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill my lungs, and I step forward. The journey isn't over. It's just beginning, and this time I'm ready.